Hey y'all, Roland Smith here, Mountain Bushcrafters Alliance. I know we've kind of covered the trap basket in previous videos, but today I'm going to do a little something different. I'm going to do a trap basket weight comparison. Now, keep in mind that I'm referring to walking your trap line. I'm not talking about jumping in a truck, jumping in a side-by-side or on a four-wheeler and running your traps. I'm talking about just hoofing, getting out there and walking the trap line. And a lot of times we carry stuff that's needless, and a lot of times we carry stuff that we need we don't have. But now, what I'm going to do, I do my dirt holes pre-season. The reason I do my dirt holes pre-season is I get that bobcat, that coyote, that fox coming in, being fed and feeling safe. When season comes in, I do my sets, and I guarantee if you do that, it'll up your game tremendously. But now, we're going to get right into this, and I'm going to go through everything, what I do when I'm scouting with my pack, when I'm doing my dirt holes, and when I'm full on in trapping mode. Now, I'll try not to jostle the camera too bad, bear with me. Now, I hope you can see that. This Lauren pack alone weighs about 8 pounds. That's what it weighs. And that's empty. So automatically you've got 8 pounds in your trap basket. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray neutralizer. And yes, I'm a firm believer in dead downwind. I'm telling you, it'll neutralize anything. What I'll do is I'll take my trap basket down, and I'm going to ask myself, now this is pre-season, doing dirt holes pre-season, and I'm going to ask myself, what do I need? Well, the first thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need my 3-in-1 groundhog tool. Go ahead and put that in its place. What am I going to need? Now, I'm just doing pre-season. I'm not doing no sets. Well, I don't need my sifting pan. I don't need coffee grounds for my pan covers. I don't need my Wolfang cable driver. I need my multi-tool. I always keep lighter, my hunting license, my orange card, everything right in my pack, always. Now listen, if you're going to these little flea markets and stuff, or whatever, because around here they do it a lot. They'll buy a big box of that, like 522 shells, and they'll split them up into little bags, and they'll sell them to make more money. If you're buying these kind of shells in sandwich bags, I don't care what kind of shell it is, you're wasting your money. Now in the summertime, that bag will sweat and that will not fire. I know that from experience. It will not fire. A little bit of beaver castor from Fleming Traps. Put that right in here. Now, I'm just doing my dirt holes pre-season. I'm not baiting up anything. I'm going to keep my whisk broom with me. Keep a little bit of sandwich bags. Those sandwich bags are for collecting coyote scat in, say like if I'm on this ridge top over here and I'm setting my line over here, I can scout this area, collect some coyote scat, put it about 15-20 feet away from my set, and I guarantee you, coyotes will come in to figure out what's going on. A new guy in the neighborhood. Here's what I keep my 22 shells in. Don't need them right now. Now, I dispatch with a little old cheap 22 pistol. I used to carry a rifle, but if you're walking, you're suffering. I carry my 40 M&P for protection. I got my schmog, Now keep in mind, I'm just doing presets. I'm not doing no traps because it's pre-season. A little bit of fox urine. Now, what I'll have in this, and I'm letting it ferment right now, is good old chicken liver. You let that chicken liver ferment, you'll have to have gloves to handle it. Now I'm telling you, you're talking about catching some kind of disease. It gets black and green and all kinds of colors. But the coyotes, the bobcat, love it. I'm gonna say chicken liver in that. My tool set, along with my multi-tool. My gloves. I don't need no cables. We're not doing sets. And my kneeling pad. That's what I've got in here. And also my buck knife. You know, why carry that knife for? I've always carried that knife. And I've got name tags and some quick links, and don't need them, because all we're doing is dirt holes. Keep in mind, that's all we're doing is dirt holes pre-season. My setters, don't need them. I use fencing more for a lot of, I mean, this stuff is 110 conibears for your sets to tie bait in, to do whatever you want to do. Go get you some fencing mortar. You can't break that stuff. Now, my binoculars, don't need them. Not unless I just want to have them just to scout or peer around, but I don't need them. Now, that's what I need. Now, minus the chicken liver now because it's fermenting. But that's what I need to do my presets. I use that whisk broom to mess up the area just a little bit, right where I want my trap. Just to kind of whisk back and forth and blend it in, right where I'm going to do my set. And I also got some marking tape. Now, I don't mark where my traps are, because around here you just telling everybody where your traps are. What I do is I either mark across from where my trap is, or just so many feet up from my trap. But that way I'll know when I see that mark tape, there's a trap there. Because if you're setting 60 and 70 traps, you try to go over in your mind where you set all them traps, and I'm telling you, it'll absolutely it'll about drive you nuts. Now, that bumped that up about 14 pounds. Okay? About 15 pounds, I guess almost 16 pounds. That's what that bumped that up. And like I said, keep in mind, you're walking. You're not, and that's not none of the rest of the gear. You're not jumping on a four-wheeler. You're not jumping on a side-by-side. You're not jumping in your pickup truck. You're not cruising up the holler and getting out and checking your traps. You're walking. Now last year my trap line was 4 miles in. That was 8 miles a day. Plus I was bringing out my catch. And I had a pretty awesome season last year. Now, let's go ahead and let me put everything that I have just as if I was going to set 4 traps, just 4. Not a whole big slew of them, just 4. And like I said, I'm a believer in dead downwind. That's a neutralizer. I don't handle nothing without rubber gloves or latex gloves. Pre-season. When I do my sets, I've always got my blue gloves on. Now, let's take this back down. Okay. Got my setters. I got my coffee filters. That's my pan covers. I got my wire. I got my little pack of quick links and name tags and whatnot. That goes with it, definitely. Now a lot of people use different things. Now, if you go to change an area, just say you find a field and the coyotes are working that field, a lot of people say, well, make you a drag. Do whatever. If you change that area, the trajectory or the scenery of that area, you have destroyed your trap line if you've got a field that coyotes are using. What I use the wolf fang anchors, and I use the driver. Now, people say, well, they're not retrievable. I've made mine retrievable, and I'll show you how. Now, all you do is set that in there. It locks in. You drive her down. You pull the cable back a little bit, and it locks in the ground. Let me show you what I'm referring to. When you drive that in the ground, you drive that in the ground, you drive it down in the ground, just like that. When you pull that cable back, it locks right in the ground. You'll not pull that out. What I done, I had drilled a hole in the tip end of that and added me a piece of cable. So when that's locked in the ground, I can pull this one cable, the retriever cable. It'll pull right out of the ground. I mean, I've used them. Well, you can see I've used them and used them and used them. Make your own retrievers. Save yourself some money. See, these are disposable, or was. But I got 4 cables, enough to set 4 traps. 4 cables, and just a few driver anchors. Put them down in here. Now, I've got my sieve pan. It goes in there. Now we're setting traps now. You can take these when you're setting. The first day, there's no sense in it. Not unless you're scouting. The dispatch, there's no sense in it because you've not caught nothing yet. Personal protection, never leave home without it. And I've got my driver. Now, let's go ahead, put our blue gloves on, because I'm telling you, I won't handle my stuff without gloves, period. Now, spray down a little bit. Let's go ahead and go with the number 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's see what that changes the weight on that. That's everything. That's everything I need to do my sets. If I'm walking 4, 5, 6 miles, this is what's going to be on my back. This is what I have to look to. In the pouring rain, in the snow, in the sleet, in up and down cliff lines and terrain. And see what we've got here. Let's see what we've got here. Fold that up. That's what I'm talking about. Just 4 traps. And you add 4 every day. You're right at 24 pounds. That's 24 pounds right there. And that's just the bare necessities. The bare necessities to start your trap line. That's not, I hope y'all got to see that. But that's 4 traps. You set your 4 traps, you move out, and I try to set my traps. Just depends on the area. If it's used heavily, in the state of Kentucky, you can't have traps. 10 foot is the distance from trap to trap. But the way I do that, I'll set my traps as close as I've set my traps is probably about 100 foot, 200 foot. But now, if you're just in a long lying area, a distance of the same area, and nothing's changed, it's not been used much, about every 75 to 100 yards I'll set a trap. But that is what you carry. Now, like I said, you're not You're not putting that in a four-wheeler, on a four-wheeler, or in a side-by-side, or in your pickup truck, and driving to each and every trap. You're driving as far as you can, like last year I did, and walked 4 miles in, 4 miles out. Every day. And had an awesome season. But if you do your sets or your dirt holes pre-season, that'll greater the chances of you having an awesome season. But that's what I'll have on my back now during trap seasons. About all the time until I run my line completely out. And then I've got about 3 places. 3 lines, 3 different lines. But that's what it takes in the state of Kentucky, in the mountains, to get trapping done. Now, I've said it before, and I always say it, I'm no professional nothing. I know what works for me. What works for me might not work for you. But that's what makes us all individuals. But this is Roland Smith, Mountain Bushcrafters Alliance. And like I say, go farther, stay longer. We'll catch you out in the field.